Where and when men come to divide, men come to conflict. Religiously, nationally, politically, ideologically, financially, in colour, creed, social status, heritage and background. Every division leads us to conflict, and we are so divided people, and this is why our world is in perpetual conflict. Jew against Arab against Jew, Muslim against Christian against Muslim, American against Russian against American, black against white against black, rich against poor against rich, good against bad against good. Every division leads us to conflict, and conflict leads us to war, the legalized act of murder, considered sane and sanctioned by every nation as the deaths of our communal human children are profited upon by greedy investors and military manufacturers and politicians in the eternal divide of humanity, of us against them. This is nothing new. This is business as usual for humanity. In fact, it's more than that. This is our way of life. We have no money to feed the starving children of this world, no magic money trees to help those poverty-stricken, or without food, but we always have money for war. In times of so-called peace, we spend trillions annually on preparing for the next war. Every president demands it, and every weapons manufacturer and politician profits from it, and every mother cries. This has been our pattern of living over thousands of years. Conquer, take what another has, rape, kill, destroy and pillage. This was the pattern of life for the Vikings and for the Romans, as it is this day for their counterparts of this deeply insane, unquestioned continuity. Humanity has never known a life of peace on this living planet. We are unique among all animal species to this behaviour. No other life form lives by digesting its own. Until we can solve this problem, until we are collectively as deeply interested in the resolution of this problem as we are today in its continuity, mankind will never know peace. We have lived dividedly for thousands and thousands of years, and we have warred for the same number of years we have lived dividedly. Our lives have never been anything other than a day trip on a boat on a continually flowing river of mother's tears. It seems obvious that something is wrong with humanity. What is wrong needs to end. What is so very wrong with us? Many things, perhaps. We have evolved tribally. Our nations are glorified tribes of old. A tribe is a division between people. We have evolved religiously divisively. We have evolved to value personal accumulation more than the life of another human being. Our evolution is unquestionable, and our evolution will never solve this problem, for it is a part of it. We have evolved from the club to the sword to the bow and arrow to the gun and cannon to the magnificent weapons of war each nation holds this day. Defence is the word we have used for such necessity, but defence maintains the divide, and it's only a matter of time before that divide leads to an attack. I think, for rather obvious reasons, given the nature of this investigation, that we do not cast stones. We cannot look to the many conflicts this day and pass judgment. The very fact that humanity has always lived this way, and it is the very fact that we have, is indicative of a more deeply seated problem than those among us this day who seek profit from chaos and a better life for themselves, paid out of the blood of our children. For this has always been the case. We could look this day in many directions to find the chasms of divisions so common to our race and so destructive to our kind. The division of wealth, allowing a few men to construct the world to their heart's desires in their images. The divisions of ideologies, a common companion to our lives over countless years. aforementioned divisions of nationalities, religions, politics and race. You know the crazy thing? We find our security in these divisions. We find our security in what inevitably comes to kill us. We find security in our traditional group, which is an arbitrary activity we all engage within, dependent on location and timing of birth. We find security behind a flag, in our national anthem, in our educated structures of belief. Strange that we mostly believe in a loving God and that we preach the power of love, yet never care to change the divisive way we live, which destroys any potential for love. Today, we have the divisions of money, race, politics, even sexuality, all blighting our lives. So many of us must be living in absolute fear, having been born to find oneself in a world of such uncertainty. So many of us must have already cried an unmeasurable quantity of tears over the loss of loved ones. The pandemic just passed, the threat of another to come, wars appearing all over the world, the flood of refugees through open-bordered nations, threatening the stability of every nation, which must come to pass when divided people come to meet. The insanity of the world we live within this day is the story of mankind to this day. History is your story. The human brain has evolved through countless years of the same. This is our pattern. This is where we find our security, in what we have so poorly named victory over the dead bodies of others, and to these others, we are others. And so they seek their victory over our dead bodies. Our personal lives mirror this warlike approach to life. Raised to competition, raised to fight to the top, raised to claim the whole world as my own, raised to dominate, dictate, control, divide and conquer, raised to live without love. If humanity is to ever change, then humanity must change to meet that change. And all change demands a death of what came before. A cancer must die for a body to find health. If cancer continues in any area, health can never be met. What is the cancer seemingly inherent to our race which has led us here, and we have never in all our long processes of evolution ever been free from? It's division. It's what we find security living within. Every child of every nation is raised to salute a flag divided from all others. Every child of every religion is raised to find psychological security in an accepted traditional religion, a religion divided from all others. White men have valued their lives as more important than black. Yes, it gets that superficial, and today, those who profit from divisions are turning the page and writing the book in the opposing direction. It makes no difference. The same divide remains. Politics, the art of governing, is the very societal movement which continues all divisions between men and mobilizes the immense wealth of the taxpayers in every divided nation into the pockets of weapons manufacturers, who themselves enrich the politician in return, through the now accepted act of so-called lobbying. Other industries do likewise, and so our own hard-earned resources are ultimately the very thing which come to destroy our own lives. Please, it must be emphasized over and over, no one is judging. It is important to understand that no one is to blame, and I really mean this. The very true and instantly observable fact that we have always lived this way, from the times of Christ and before, and still live this way, is proof enough that this is an issue for our race as a whole, and not an issue which casts blame on any person involved in any of the mentioned activities this day. This all arises between us because we have all been educated to become something. A Russian Orthodox was educated from a child to be a Russian Orthodox. An American Christian, the same. An Israeli Jew, the exact same. And a Palestinian Arab, the same. And we find our securities in these identities, psychological recorded inner natures rooted in thought, and each one of us finds this sense of psychological security in exactly the same movement, and so you are the same as the rest of humanity. Yet the divisive content of these historical allegiances differs between us, and so we come to live divisively, and our children, all our children, pay the heavy price. What we are finding security living in and as is denying the security we so desperately need, the security of living as one people. What are you truly underlying all these identities? What are you? What would you have been if never educated to such identification in psychological outlooks of life of long-standing continuity? If never even given a name, which is the very root of all divisions, upon which all psychological divisions are contained? From birth, you were educated to see yourself as something separate from, and so divided from, the universe which gave birth to you and presents before your eyes. Words divide. A door is not a chair, is not a shadow, and so our names, which are our identities, which come alive within us in language, in a never-ending stream of words and images, are the very source of all divisions in our world. Our chattering minds are a continuity in memory of our past experiences. Again, another division, as not one identity travels the same course in life, and so no one holds the same past experiences. As we act on our thinking, these actions from past experiences, which are actions from thought, naturally come to divide us, as each have been conditioned to seek security in continuity and progress towards a future, which must be the same as our past knowledge is driving our future progression, yet which divides each one of us by nature of the source of our actions being our past recorded knowledge. Divisive between us all, and so the very root source of all conflict in our so-named individual lives, which are not individual at all, as we all act this way, and the source of all war in our world. Can you see how we are the problem of this world, which needs to end? If we are humanity, and humanity is ever to come to peace and know the potential of relationship, which can only take place free from all divisions. We live isolated lives meeting the universe not as it is, but through a veil of thinking, and so we more see the world as we are than we see it as it is. And all of this ground all of humanity stands upon, all of these divisive conceptual identifications and memories, are the pattern of existence our race has lived through for millennia. This is the pattern which is destroying our world today, as it has destroyed our world so many times previously in the past. We were not born for this. We were educated into a traditional pattern of living divisively, which led our lives into this. A newborn child knows nothing, either of itself or of the universe it has been born into. Knowledge of what you are and this universe is a process of having been told, which lives in memory. A newborn child is nothing and no one, until parents and society tell the child what he or she is and educate that child in a direction he or she is to become. Is love found in living the way we live? Have you met love on your journey through life? Or have you met inner conflicts, sufferings, worries, fears, depressions, anxieties, a never-ending seeking of pleasures, and a hunger for more, a movement of incessant desire. You have not known love. The love you have known is related to pleasure, desire, and sex, a sense of attachment to another person. These are all patterns of continuity within the time-based verbal structure of a conceptually educated mind which we all live within. You cannot know love, for love belongs to this living present moment and is met only by a mind which has freedom to look at life as it is, which is to look at life without how one thinks about how it is. If you are a Jew, Arab, Christian, American, if you value wealth as a child still dies every 5 seconds on this planet from hunger, a total of 6 million every year, how can you claim to know love? You have anger in your heart for those your life has been conceptually divided against. How can you love if you live in suffering, in psychological pain, in depression, in worry, stress, or anxiety? These are all common states of mind to the common state of mind, the divided, conflicted mind of humanity. And so our race has never come to meet love. Love is to live as the youngest of children, to live as nothing at all. And so the salvation of our race is the same as the salvation of every human being, and we are the problem which needs to end. We are our own living misery, and we are the cause of that misery. Our world needs love, as our lives need love, and love is not a quality of the human mind as we live this day. Love is a quality of the holistic relationship we can only meet when the conceptual wall of educated words, concepts, and images we live as this day has come to an end. When the eyes are unobstructed, vision becomes accurate. When the ears are unobstructed, sound is clearly heard. When the mind is unobstructed, void of divisive self, void of divisive self-interest, void of all distorting images, words, and memories, the result is love. We are the change which this world needs to meet. The outer manifestation of the insane world we live within is a projection from the actions taken from our inner conceptually divisive, educated psychological states. We need to die as we are living today to meet love. And then, and only then, war and conflict for our long-suffering race will finally be over.